2,000 years ago, a man was buried in a borrowed tomb. Soldiers guarded the entrance. A massive stone sealed the door. The most powerful empire on Earth made sure he would stay dead. And yet, that tomb is empty today. Not because someone stole the body, not because of some conspiracy, but because something happened on a Sunday morning that no government, no army, and no power on Earth could stop. And that event still changes lives right now, today, this very moment. But here's what most people miss about Easter. It's not just about what happened on Sunday. To understand why Sunday matters, you have to go back to Friday, back to the darkness, back to the moment when it looked like everything was lost. Because Sunday only means something when you've lived through Friday.
The morning started with a betrayal. One of his closest friends sold him out for a bag of coins. Not a stranger, not an enemy. A friend. Someone who ate dinner with him the night before. By sunrise, he was standing in front of an angry crowd. The same people who waved palm branches and shouted his name just 5 days earlier were now screaming for his death. Think about that. 5 days. That's all it took for praise to turn into hatred. The soldiers beat him. They whipped his back until it was unrecognizable. They shoved a crown made of thorns into his skull. And then they made him carry his own cross through the streets while people spit on him. But here's the part that breaks something inside you when you really sit with it. He could have stopped it. At any moment, he had the power to call it all off. He didn't. He chose the pain. And he chose the nails. He chose the cross. By 3 in the afternoon, it was finished. He said it himself, "It is finished." And then he died. The sky went dark in the middle of the day. The ground shook. The curtain inside the temple ripped from top to bottom. Not from the bottom up, like a man would tear it. From the top down, as if God himself was making a statement. And then, silence. His body was taken down, wrapped in cloth, placed inside a cold, borrowed tomb. A stone was rolled over the entrance, and everyone who loved him stood there with the same thought. It's over. But was it really? Nobody talks about Saturday. Friday gets all the attention. Sunday gets all the glory. But Saturday is the day that will wreck you if you let it. Because Saturday is the waiting. Imagine being one of his followers that morning. And you wake up and the person you gave your whole life to follow is gone. Dead. Buried. The tomb is sealed. Roman soldiers are standing guard outside like he's still some kind of threat. You left your job for this man. You left your family. You told everyone he was the one, and now, nothing. No angel showed up with an explanation. No voice from heaven said, "Just wait." There was no sign, no clue, no hope, just silence and a sealed stone. Saturday is the day faith feels like a fool's game. And here's what makes it worse. He told them this would happen. He said he would die. He said he would come back. He told them 3 days. But in the middle of Saturday, none of that mattered. Grief has a way of making you forget every promise you've ever heard. So they hid. They locked themselves in a room. Some of them cried. Some of them doubted. Some of them probably started planning their old lives again. Back to fishing, back to normal. Back to before they ever met him. Saturday felt like the end of everything. They had no idea what was coming in a few hours. Here's what's wild about this part of the story. The people who were afraid were the wrong people. His followers were hiding, but the religious leaders, the Roman officials, they were the ones who couldn't sleep. They went to Pilate and said, "This man claimed he would rise after 3 days. You need to secure that tomb, make sure nobody tampers with it." So Pilate sent guards, elite Roman soldiers, trained killers. They sealed the stone with an official Roman seal, which meant breaking it was a crime punishable by death. Think about that for a second. They were so afraid of a dead man that they sent an army to watch a grave. They thought they were keeping people out. But they weren't. They were about to witness something no soldier was trained for, because something was happening inside that tomb, in the silence, in the dark, behind the stone that no human was going to move. Death was losing its grip. No one was there to see it. No camera, no witnesses inside. Just a body wrapped in cloth lying on cold rock, and the power of God doing what no empire could stop. The religious leaders thought the stone would hold. The soldiers thought their swords were enough. The empire thought its authority was final. They were all wrong, because what happened next didn't just open a tomb. It opened something that can never be closed again. It was still dark when she walked to the tomb. Mary Magdalene, early Sunday morning, before the sun came up. She wasn't going there expecting a miracle. She was going to mourn. She brought spices to treat a dead body. That's it. But when she got there, the stone was gone. Not cracked, not shifted to the side. Gone. Moved completely. And the soldiers who were supposed to be guarding it, flat on the ground, knocked out cold, elite Roman warriors dropped like they were nothing. She looked inside the tomb. The body wasn't there. The cloth that had been wrapped around him was folded, neatly, carefully, not ripped off in a hurry like someone stole the body. Folded, like someone who had all the time in the world. And then she heard a voice. She thought it was the gardener. Through her tears, she begged him, "Tell me where you put him. I'll take him away." One word changed everything. Mary. He said her name. That's all it took. She knew that voice. She had heard it cast out her demons. She had heard it forgive sins. She had heard it calm storms. He was alive, standing right in front of her, not a ghost, not a vision, alive. The man they beat, alive. The man they nailed to wood, alive. The man they sealed in a tomb and guarded with soldiers, alive. Death satisfies on everything it touches. But not this time. This time death swallowed something it couldn't digest, and the world Christ would never be the same again. But here's the question nobody asks enough. What does that actually mean for you? It's easy to hear this story and think, that was 2,000 years ago. Different time, different world. What does an empty tomb in Jerusalem have to do with my life today? Everything. And because the resurrection wasn't just about one man walking out of a grave, it was a statement. A permanent, unbreakable statement that said, death is not the final word. Not then. Not now. Not ever. And that changes everything about the way you live. Think about it. Every fear you carry, every single one, traces back to some form of death. Fear of losing someone, fear of failure, fear of being forgotten, fear of running out of time, fear of the end. But if the grave couldn't hold him, what makes you think your situation is permanent? That job you lost, not the end. That relationship that broke, not the end. That diagnosis the doctor gave you, not the end. That mistake you made that keeps you up at night, not the end. Easter isn't a holiday, it's a reminder. A violent, earth-shaking reminder that God specializes in dead situations. He doesn't just fix things, He brings them back from the grave. And here's what most people get wrong. They think Easter is only about what Jesus did. But it's also about what He's still doing, right now, in real lives, in real pain, in real situations that look completely hopeless, including yours, especially yours. But to understand that, you need to see something most people miss about Friday. Everyone has a Friday. That moment when the thing you feared the most finally happens. When the call comes, when the door closes, when the person leaves, when the dream dies. Friday is the day your heart breaks and nobody can fix it. Maybe your Friday was a funeral, standing over a casket, wondering how life moves forward now. Maybe it was a divorce, papers signed, rings off, everything you built, gone. Maybe it was the moment you looked in the mirror and didn't recognize yourself anymore. A Friday doesn't ask permission, it just shows up. And the hardest part about Friday isn't even the pain. It's the silence that follows. You pray and hear nothing. You cry and nothing changes. You beg God for a sign, just something. And the sky stays empty. That's what those disciples felt. That's what Mary felt. That's what everyone who ever loved him felt that weekend. And here's what most people don't realize. God was not absent on Friday, he was working. The silence wasn't abandonment, it was preparation. Because sometimes the miracle isn't loud. Sometimes the breakthrough doesn't come with trumpets and angels. Sometimes God moves in the quiet, in the dark. Behind the stone you can't see past. Your Friday feels final, it feels permanent. It feels like proof that God has forgotten you. But Friday is not your whole story. It's not even the climax. It's the setup, the tension before the turn. Friday is brutal. There's no way around that. But Friday has a secret it doesn't want you to know. It doesn't last. Something else is coming. If Friday is the wound, Saturday is the waiting room. And the waiting room might be the hardest place to stay. Because on Saturday, nothing makes sense. You're not in crisis anymore. The worst already happened. But you're not healed either. You're just stuck. Caught between what was and what might be. Saturday is waking up every day wondering if things will ever change. It's going through the motions while your heart is somewhere else. It's praying prayers that feel like they hit the ceiling and fall back down. And here's what makes Saturday so dangerous. It's quiet, no drama, no clear villain, just endless, unexhausting waiting, and in that space, doubt creeps in. Maybe God isn't real. Maybe this is just my life now. Maybe I should give up and accept that nothing is coming. The disciples felt every bit of this. They were done, planning their exit, ready to go back to who they were before they ever believed. But here's what they didn't know. Sunday was only hours away. And that's the thing about Saturday. You never know how close you are. You never know if your breakthrough is tonight, tomorrow morning, next week. You can't see behind the stone. You don't know what's moving in the dark. Saturday requires something. Friday doesn't. Friday takes your strength. Saturday takes your faith. You have to believe when you can't see, hold on when you can't feel, trust when nothing around you makes sense. Because Sunday always comes. Always. Sunday didn't ask for permission. It didn't wait for the disciples to believe harder. It didn't wait for Mary to stop crying. It didn't need the stone to be rolled away by human hands. Sunday just came. Because that's what God does. He doesn't wait for you to be strong enough. He doesn't wait for you to have enough faith. He doesn't wait for you to fix yourself before he steps in. He moves when he's ready. And when he moves, nothing stays dead. That situation you've given up on. Sunday is coming for it. That broken relationship you buried in your heart. Sunday is coming. That part of yourself you thought was gone forever. Sunday is coming. And here's what makes this different from wishful thinking. This isn't positive energy. This isn't good vibes. This is a God who has already proven what he can do. And he's already beaten the worst enemy. He's already walked out of a grave. If he can do that, your situation is not too hard. Your marriage is not too broken. Your addiction is not too deep. Your past is not too dirty. Your future is not too uncertain. If death itself couldn't hold him, nothing can hold back what he has planned for you. But here's the thing about Sunday: you have to be willing to receive it. Mary went to that tomb expecting a dead body. She got a living savior. But she had to go, she had to show up, even in her grief, even in her doubt. Sunday is coming, but you have to be there when it arrives. And there's one more thing you need to hear.